Hello, everyone. Hazen from Hazen Takes on the World.
And Mitch from Mitch Reviews Everything.
And here we are in the Zord Bay today, and we're going to, having this be based off of Power Rangers unofficially. We decided to do our first video on the first season of Power Rangers, titled Mighty Morphin Power Rangers here in the U.S. It was based off of Zoo Ranger in Japan, Super Sentai series. It came out in 1993. So today we're going to just be talking about the story and the feel of Season 1. We're going to break this down because we could talk for hours about the subtle nuances in the seasons and all the great fun, but we're going to do that in several episodes for you. So please stay tuned with us and just kind of listen to us talk. I mean, I guess that's pretty much what YouTube is anymore, so that's what we do. So first off, Season 1 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was basically a witch named Rita Repulsa was accidentally released from a space dumpster on the moon by two wily astronauts, and that caused the ancient sage Zordon, who was trapped in a time warp, to summon teenagers with attitude, as we've all heard several times, to become the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and fight her monster of the week, and by doing that with weapons and power morphers and Zords. Anything? Yeah. So
I mean, as I recall, and I just watched it probably, I can't remember what year. I rewatched it, watching it as a child, but pretty much this first season kind of followed a pretty strict flow of episodes.
Yeah.
You'd have Rita's Monster of the Day. Power Rangers are summoned pretty quickly. They'll fight a bunch of henchmen putties. There's usually a plan where they're usually... What was the big thing in Season 1? They'd be taking something or putting... They would always have a plan of action that was kind of basic. They'd be trying to take somebody or something.
Yeah. A lot of the Season 1 stuff revolved around the monster of the week trying to abduct someone. Generally a kid. There was a lot of kids being abducted, and that harkens back to the Super Sentai footage with what was going on in that story using the scenes. But yeah, they did a lot of trying to capture someone,
Yeah.
or stranding someone away from someone, trying to alienate people from others.
Of course, Angel Grove Park, never ever safe from a monster attack.
Yeah.
So it's
The biggest park in the world, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Great maintenance there. Grass.
Always cut.
But they'd send the monster down. Group of putties. We'll talk more in this about we get into the monsters, but they'd send the putties down and
to soften up the Rangers in their normal street clothes.
Yeah, and of course it would never work. They were able to fight them off with just their powers. Can we talk about how the power in this story in the first season, how they got their powers, their issued their coins?
So originally Zordon had his assistant, the robot Alpha 5, teleport 5 teens from the Angel Grove Youth Center, which was Jason, Zach, Trini, Billy, and Kimberly. And Zordon told them the peril of the Rita Repulsa getting loose and how he fought her centuries ago, and he gives them power coins that are apparently he found, and they can take on the powers of dinosaurs.
He found these, or did he make them?
Originally it was assumed that he made them, but
what I was always under the assumption that he found them and he used the power of the Morphin grid.
Yeah.
And infused them with power from the Morphin grid, and they took the coin and they put them in these morphers that Alpha 5 had built.
Well, that was the thing. That was what they made you assume, and I think they might have mentioned that. But later seasons on, they mentioned how Zordon and Alpha just found the coins. I'll get into where they actually came from when we get there, but so I mean, the Morphin grid is basically this. Some people like to think that it's alive. I don't really know how I feel about that.
I always felt that the Morphin grid was like just harnessing the energies of the universe.
Yeah.
Like the Earth has energy running through it, and all people do. I always felt like it was something like that, like harnessing the power of just the universe's force and energy is how I would feel that the Morphin Grid was described.
I always feel like exactly what you said, but it does come. It's an energy force that. But I feel like it transcends time, it transcends space, and it's one of those things. It's a constant. You can't break down energy.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's one of those things that, and we'll discuss a lot more in later seasons of how, like, I believe some Rangers, it can see their potential. It can. I think the Morphin Grid can choose Rangers when it needs it, and then some it chooses because the Rangers need them. I think some people need to become Power Rangers to correct their lives because they have hidden potential. And I think that's because the Morphin Grid is an all-knowing, I don't think it's actually a creature or anything like that, but I think it's an energy force. And I mean, and that's basically it was able to connect with the most dominant creatures on the planet at the time, which was ancient dinosaurs, and the coins were their connection to it. It started with Day of the Dumpster and ended on an oyster stew, where
very memorable episode.
Yeah, very memorable episode. We'll jump to that in a second because the big story arc was Green with Evil, where that brought in probably the most popular Power Ranger of all time, Tommy,
Absolutely.
the Green Ranger. And we'll get into Rangers and everything later.
Mm-hmm.
But brought him in and added 6 to the team, rounded it out really nice. And the final episode wasn't a big season ending. Like, there wasn't a catastrophe or anything like that. Because originally, Doomsday was supposed to be the end, but the show went like a wildfire, so they continued making episodes. But yeah, it consisted of Zach and his girlfriend Angela at the time, or the girl he was trying to date, and Tommy and Kimberly going on a double date, and an oyster monster attacked, and Tommy had to transfer his shield to Zach, and it was a one-time only thing. It was pretty cool.
If I remember right, there wasn't enough power in the Morphin Grid possibly to do it ever again. Did they explain it away, something like that?
I don't remember if they explained it away, but I remember that it generally happened. It needed the coin to be given over too, so like it was, it could be done temporarily, but like he couldn't give it to Zach and Zach just have it. It was, the shield was connected to the dragon coin, so like, if Tommy wasn't morphed, Zach couldn't use the shield, kind of thing. So, but
really cool seeing.
Yeah, really cool
seeing the shield on Zach on the Black Ranger. It was I remember that episode. I mean, I hadn't watched Power Rangers for years and years since I was a kid, but I still always remembered that episode. And of course, it had a sea-based bad monster in it, which I love anything sea-based. So especially with villains.
I think it goes without saying, just because of it's being 25 years and we still see Mighty Morphin being referenced and being rebooted and things like that. It's the most popular season, or the story of the 3 first seasons being Mighty Morphin. I think that's just the nostalgia that people have for it. By far, it is not the best season, but that's my opinion. We're not here to step on anyone's toes. Maybe someone thinks Mighty Morphin is the only Power Rangers, and I know a lot of people that do think that. A lot of people that wandered away from the show around the 4th season and don't include any of it. But we're here to talk about the whole series as a whole. But I think that's pretty good for today. Check out tomorrow. We're going to be talking about the Rangers individually, and we'll just get a little bit more in depth with them. But that's pretty much all we have to say today. Thanks for joining us here in the Zord Bay. We'll see you tomorrow.